Field of 68 After Dark.
Welcome in, Field of 68 After Dark. It is a busy Tuesday. Tons of Players Era action. And we're joined by the man of the hour. Michigan just got done topping off 102-72 against Auburn. Yaxel Lendeborg, 17 points in 27 minutes. Again, Michigan, we believe, is on to the championship game here, and Yaxel Lendeborg joins us now. Yaxel, what's going on, man? Congrats on the win.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was really fun out there.
You've had 2 wins here that have been I called tonight's a mollywop. Do you know what a mollywop is?
I get the reference.
I mean, 2 easy wins so far. Tomorrow night, again, it looks like you're going to be playing Gonzaga for $1 million to win this event. I mean, what's this like for you? I mean, last year you were at UAB. Nobody's really paying attention to you. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
now everybody's paying attention to you. We did something on you earlier this year on your journey. But what's this part of your journey been like?
This part has been amazing, honestly. I think they're starting to shoot a show for us too. It's like everything that's coming with Michigan is like a game. It's like a video game. So I'm honestly just super blessed, super happy to be here, man. I thank God every day for this moment.
Yeah, so obviously, man, you know, it's been a lineup that people have talked about nationally, you know, the size, right? Just going basically, you know, 3 bigs with this lineup. And there have been moments in the season, maybe people have said it hasn't looked the smoothest, but tonight, I mean, it just really looked like everything was working for you guys. So can you just take us through, you know, getting comfortable with all that size out there in this game?
Yeah, man, I think our size works to an advantage. Coach just told us that we became the #1 defense in the country tonight. So that's something that we're going to build off of, keep using our size to an advantage, honestly, because our bigs can move, you know. Perez especially, he can guard 1 through 5. No matter who you put in front of him, he's going to take care of that, you know. So it's an honor just to be around guys like this. And a lot of the team is unselfish too. So we're all going to make plays for each other no matter what.
Yeah, Yaxel, you just touched on it there. It was going to be my question because they talked in the broadcast afterwards that you guys have been chasing the #1 defense in the country. I checked before we came on. You're there. You just mentioned that. So what's the mentality like? I mean, you said you're chasing it. Now you're there. How do you reset? You don't know exactly who the opponent is tomorrow, but what's the mindset for you guys in that locker room?
We're going to forever be the hunters. You know, a lot of people are doubting our abilities because of some close games that we had at the beginning. Man, as soon as we get connected, there's no team in the country that's going to be better than us. So I have full faith in us, our defensive abilities, and we're going to keep being the best team in the nation.
Yeah, actually, I want to talk about the shooting. You're shooting almost twice as many threes per game this year, a little over 4. You're shooting the hell out of the ball. Was that feedback you got from the next level? Or is that something your coach kind of implemented and say, hey, I need you to shoot that thing?
Yeah, during the combine process, a lot of scouts were just talking about, you know, shooting a 3 more because I'm going to be like a 3-and-D wing kind of player at the next level. So I came back this year to become, you know, pro ready next year. So I'm going to do whatever I can, play a role that I need to play, and just be ready to be the best player I can be next year.
You looked more comfortable in the offense.
Yeah.
And I talked to Dusty last week, and he said, listen, the 3 bigs, we're elite defensively. We got to get better offensively.
Yep.
You feel just more comfortable now as you're getting reps with those guys?
Yeah, he tells us a lot. Whenever the 3 bigs are in, I have to become more of a shooter. Whenever it's me and Rez or me and Adai, I got to be more of a driver, create offense for the team type of guy. So,
all right. Well, listen, congrats. Don't hurt Dusty on the chest bump next time. I feel like if you guys, all you bigs, do that, he's going to go down.
I don't know. He was pretty intense. I think he was good for that.
All right. Thanks, Jackson.
Congrats, man.
Yes, sir.
Congrats,
Thank you.
man.
Yep. Yaxel Lendeborg there, Michigan forward. Big night tonight, obviously, for the Wolverines. This is, of course, Field of 68 After Dark here on a Tuesday. Yaxel joined us off the top of the show, so it's like we're going 5 wide. I'm John Martin, joined tonight. John Henson, Mike LaTulip, Jeff Goodman obviously is there in Las Vegas, arguing with people on social media about the Players Era event. We do hope to be joined by Dusty May at some point. And I think that's a good place to start. And I'll just go to you, Mike. Obviously, Michigan, you know, there has been a little bit of back and forth about the size of this lineup, and there have been times where maybe it didn't look great, but I don't know, Mike. It just looked like everything was working for them tonight.
Well, it was, and honestly, the big lineup, every single game they've deployed it, they've been positive in the plus minus. I think coming into this game, they had played it 27 minutes and they were plus 19. And look, if you watch it, they usually do it to start the game and they do it to start the second half. They're not just going back to it constantly throughout the game. So I think it's a really brilliant move by Dusty May, because how do you get comfortable to start a game? I mean, Auburn started this game off for 6. By the time Mara checked out, they were already plus 7 with that group. I think it was 9-2. And so I just love that ability to they're making you not be able to get your feet wet. And that's powerful. And especially if those teams have to travel to Ann Arbor during Big Ten play, that's big. And so Dusty, I think, recognizes that. But I think just overall for this Michigan team, I think preseason you felt like this Michigan team had a couple potential outcomes, right? An elite defensive and rebounding group, one. They could be elite in transition with Cadeau, with the Yaxel's ability to grab it off the rim and go. And you just felt like they could play with a variety in the half court. And then you felt like, okay, all three of those outcomes as they are good outcomes on their own. But you put them all together, now you're talking about one of the elite teams in America and with an elite coach. And that's exactly what you saw on display tonight.
Hey, John, I mean, you talked about it. It feels like Yaxel is sort of the key here, because when they're playing him at the 3. I mean, he was UAB's 5-man basically last year.
Yeah, I'm watching the game. It's kind of scary when they're rotating on all cylinders, kind of how good they look. And then with I think he's shooting over 45% from 3 this year, in the early kind of set of games. I mean, when he is hitting shots like that, he's aggressive. I mean, it's tough. And as you see in college basketball, the bigs are reigning supreme right now. If you got 2 or 3 bigs that are competent, you're going to have a chance to win. And the early returns, we were kind of nervous about it, right? Like, 3 bigs, they don't look good. But, I mean, tonight, the last 2 games, really, they've looked phenomenal. And it'll be exciting to see, if they match up in the championship or whoever they play, it's a final kind of litmus test of if this team is really for real.
Yeah, Goodman, obviously this is a ranked Auburn team. We'll see all it shakes out at the end of the season. But I mean, if I said the words national championship picture with the Michigan Wolverines, are you gonna make one of those patented Goodman faces at me? Are you gonna listen and agree?
Maybe.
National championship picture, Michigan Wolverines.
I'm not there yet. But I'm certainly a lot closer than I was 48 hours ago. Again, the San Diego State one, okay. To be able to beat this Auburn team this way, and in back-to-back games play this way, I think, again, says a lot about the fact that they are figuring it out. And one thing when I talked to Dusty last week was, he said, we're an elite defensive team with these 3 bigs. We don't have to become an elite offensive team with the 3 bigs. We've just got to be better. And they looked pretty much like an elite offensive team tonight. They're not going to shoot it like this every single night. But again, I think Yaxel specifically is trying to figure this thing out. And I think the last couple nights have shown that he's way more comfortable in this offense right now than he was a week or 2 ago.
Yeah, Mike, in terms of, we're talking about an elite team here. We're talking about a team that feels like they're going to be. So when we talk about these Michigans, when we talk about these Houstons, these Purdue's, like for me, the bar is just so high that I almost do want to poke the holes, right? I do want to pick the nits, so to speak. And I guess if I was going to do that with Michigan, I would start with the point guard play. And I think when you get deep into March and you start talking about championship teams, do you see that as an issue potentially for Michigan? But they didn't have to have it tonight. Like, they were basically just making everything they put up. But do you see that being an issue, or do they have enough there with Cadeau and Kaysen and everything else they've got?
Yeah, I think the way they play offensively, I think coming into the year you thought, okay, Yaxel, the Danny Wolf blueprint, and it really hasn't been that way. When those 3 bigs are in together, a lot of things flow through Mara at the 5 because of his passing ability at 7'3". And so I think that allows these guards to come along at a more natural rate. I think Cadeau, I mean, what you want out of Cadeau is just the burst in transition, get up, hit aheads, find guys on the break. You don't need a ton from him in the half court, but they still go to some ball screen actions, and you can still hit Merez, hit Mara, hit Yaxel if they go to that. And then I think Kaysen is just continuing to improve. Gale, I think, is in the right spot for, I don't think he's a high-level starter on a great team, but that's okay because what he is a guy that wants to guard. He rebounds out of his range, and he can give you something offensively when it's needed. So, I mean, I not to disagree with you, Jeff, but Dusty May took freaking Florida Atlantic to a Final Four.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
Somebody has to push back on the bully pulpit on this show, Mike.
No, but I'm
just
just
saying,
over everybody. Look at the pieces that they have. Look what the floor that they have and what they can be defensively. And just I think on top of that, it's just I think as the season goes on, and a lot of people want to trash the 3 big thing, but I just credit Dusty May for sticking with it because
it's really a weapon. I mean, it's really a weapon in college basketball. If you have Yaxel Lendeborg making 40% of his threes.
Because they are we can say 3 big lineup, but Yaxel's a wing, and Merez can play the 4, and Mara can pass the ball. So it's not like you're playing 3-5 men out there. So I want to make that caveat. But the last thing I'll say is look at the makeup of all the Final Four teams we saw in San Antonio last year. What they all have. Minimum of 2 bigs that were worth a damn.
Minimum. Usually 3.
Usually
3. Jeff, I do want to hit the Auburn side of this real quick, though. A little awkward for Bruce Pearl. Had to sit through that.
Oh, my God.
That was
Jesus.
painful. But you know what? Greater later.
That was rough. That was rough.
Yeah, it was. Will it be rough for Auburn this year, Jeff? I think is the question.
We got one more guest coming in here. A guy that did take the chest bump pretty well. I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to withstand it, Dusty, but you did. Let's get in here a little tighter here so you can see the boys. We got John Henson, John Martin, Mike LaTulip, and all right. So if I told you you would win these 2 games this way before the start of this event, what would you have said?
I would have said we really started clicking at the right time, and we made some shots. We felt like we'd played really well, and we were taking some hits locally about the Wake Forest final score and going on the road and winning at a Big 12 Jamie Dixon coach team. And we felt like we were getting better and we were on the cusp of a breakthrough, but that doesn't mean anything. We need to make shots. We need to execute better. We need to take care of the basketball. And I think our guys have been very intentional. We've made a lot of conscious changes in practice to get better at those things, but it goes down to our guys wanting to fix what needs to be fixed.
What was the biggest change that you made over the last week or so?
Well, we changed all of our drill formats. We added a different decision and things to avoid turnovers with every drill that we currently did. So we just tried to think of ways to steal reps. We can't practice 2-3 hours this time of year because of the amount of games. So we just tried to be creative with the way we were teaching the game. And but it comes down to more that I think the emphasis just it puts a focal point on it for our guys.
Dusty, obviously, pretty much everybody played well tonight, but I want to focus on Yaxel. Back in the old American days, you used to have to go up against him twice a year. And I assume that is where, you could maybe start to see a vision for him. Him becoming this, though, a guy that you could play on the wing, who can shoot 5 threes a game. What was it about his game, even going against him at UAB for that 23-24 year that made you think, hey, this can be unlocked with Yaxel?
Well, first and foremost, his ability to get to loose basketballs, his nose for the ball, rebounding, 50-50 balls. He was the only guy that we felt like might be able to get one away from John L. Davis, who's probably the best retriever that I've ever been around. And Yaxel was right up there with him. So we always felt like he made a lot of winning plays. He's a lot different than what I thought from afar. And as far as the shooting, I still remember the game, when I was in Conference USA or the American, I watched almost exclusively Conference USA or American games. So I was watching UAB play at UTSA, and he bangs in 3 or 4 trail threes in the first half. And I said to the staff, oh, shit, if he adds that to his game, that's going to be tough to deal with. So we've always followed them. I follow all those guys. We played Middle Tennessee State the other day. Nick's an old friend. I still, every time I go see my son in Miami, I reach out to JB at Florida International. So the camaraderie at that level, but yeah, we followed him closely, and he's just such a pure soul. He's fun to be around.
Oh, he is.
Coach, I'm going to flip it to the defensive end here because I heard you on the broadcast. I actually asked Yaxel the same question about 10 minutes ago. He gave a pro answer, so I'm sure you'd be proud about that. But you were chasing the number one, the tops in America defensively. I'm sure you know this, but as of like 20 minutes ago, you're there. So to resist the complacency for this group, what's your confidence that they can do that, reset, and move on to tomorrow against, depending on the point differential, who knows? But what's your confidence this group?
It looks like Gonzaga.
Be mature about it and move on to that next day, despite hitting a goal and a benchmark you were obviously looking to get after.
I think the simplest answer is we have so many guys capable of doing the job that if someone doesn't have their best stuff, then they take a back seat that night, and then they've got to be ready to bring it the next game. But that's important to us. When we get our team together, or we finally have a roster in place, we try to forecast what can we be elite at and what are the holes that we need to find a way to fix. And we knew we had some deficiency offensively that we would have to figure out on the fly. And that's part of the reason the first 4 games looked chunky or clunky, I should say. But defensively, we felt like because Merez Johnson could guard 1 through 5, Yax can guard 1 through 5, Elliot Cadeau's feistiness. I'm good friends with Bill Armstrong, who coached him at Link. And when after the first meeting with Elliot, I called Bill and just said, can he switch and fight the way we want him to? And he said, he might be the best point guard post-switching defender that I've coached, and Bill's coached a lot of good players. So that gave us the confidence to bring him in and know he could be disruptive and on the ball and off the ball. But you look at our positional size, Damari Burnett, Roddy Gale, across the board, Trey McKinney is built like a middle linebacker. I'm leaving guys out. Will Cheddar's ability to sit down and guard on the perimeter. Just when you have guys that can guard off the bounce and they're smart and they can cover for each other and they understand the nuance of our switching schemes, then they're dangerous, but we've got a long way to go.
Coach, I'm gonna get to the. I feel like the kind of guy no one talks about. Damari is after I'm a double, 2 assists, 3 blocks. Did you expect this type of impact on your team when you guys got him? And what do you think about how he's playing?
Well, I still think he has much more room to grow. And yes, we played against these guys. So we didn't play against Merez because he was injured, but we're watching the game that he got injured on. So the evaluations were simple with the guys in league because you'd watched them play 10 times on film. We knew, we actually went back and watched all of his clips with Spain just to, we've done it with all of our guys where we go back and we watch them in every single environment and we try to figure out, does this make sense for us? And with the success of Vlad and Danny and those guys, and even throughout our time at FAU, a lot of the big guys that we've assigned have recruited us as much as we've recruited them. And John, as soon as I saw you on here, I thought, man, that might be one guy that's almost as long as a Daimara. So yeah, I thought you might like him.
Hey, you got Gonzaga. It looks like tomorrow night. They've looked every bit as impressive as you guys have here. I mean, they've got everything. They're long, they're athletic. I don't know how much you've watched them yet. But you've heard about them so far. What's going to be the key to winning that one?
This is probably the first year I haven't watched Gonzaga play a game, 5 or 6 games in, because I always watch them. They're on late first and foremost, and they play a style of basketball that you can learn something from every time you watch them. So it's going to be fun preparing for them. I mean, obviously their program, their system is the gold standard in college basketball. And so, yeah, we're excited about it. It's, obviously Coach Few's been doing this a long time at a high level, and they have really, really good players, but they're going to present challenges just like every team in this tournament does. So can we flip the script and turn the page and figure out what we need to do, and what they're going to try to attack, and can we fix it? But yeah, this should be a fun one. When I was at Florida as an assistant, we played Gonzaga. I think the 2 or 3 straight years, it was like 101 to 100 and 101 to 99. So, hopefully we can get this game opened up and be fun to watch.
All right, last one I have for you. Who are you cheering for now in football? Are you an Indiana? I know you're a Michigan guy now,
yes,
but Indiana matters now. So where are we? I mean, they play Ohio State this week, and Michigan does. Indiana plays Purdue. Like where are we at now?
If I worked for Michigan Tech and they sign my check, that's who I'd be rooting for. And then
good
you factor in how much I've enjoyed our football program and everything about them. I mean, I was having a blast hearing our fans chant "Beat Ohio" during this game. But I also follow Coach Cignetti and have learned a lot from just watching him and observing him, just like I do the other great coaches in our league. But it's go blue. But this is a big one for us on Saturday.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
So Michigan is in the title game, and then we're waiting on the final score here from Maryland and Gonzaga, but it looks like it will be Gonzaga, barring anything. I mean, they're up 29 right now, so I think I have that right. I do need your dissertation on the Players Era format, Goodman, by the end of the night. So you'll have to email that to Dagan and Trevor by the end of the night. All right, you've had time to marinate on Auburn. The question that I asked you was, is it going to be rough for them this year?
All right. So you want my honest answer to this? I mean, you want my
why would I ever want anything other than you to be honest?
All right. Here's my honest answer. I was worried when Stephen Pearl took over this team. I was concerned because he's got two players in Keyshawn Hall and Tahad Pettiford that I'm just worried about the leadership with this team a little bit. Keyshawn Hall's bounced around, talented. We know he can score. But is he in it for the numbers or is he in it to win games? Tahad Pettiford was a young guy on that team last year. Not a lot of pressure on him. They were kind of knuckleheads, but they figured it out, right? Like Janai was awesome, Miles Kelly, just the way it worked. Now Tahad's got to be a leader on this team. Is he ready for that? And if Bruce Pearl is the head coach, I feel pretty good about, okay, first of all, Bruce gives him some leeway, but it's different when you're playing for a guy who's coached for 30 years, who just took a team to the Final Four, than a rookie head coach. So that's my truth, guys. Like, I'm a little bit concerned about this team because I don't know if I trust the leadership.
I think that is the concern, and we'll see. It doesn't get easier for Auburn; it gets harder because they have to play the SEC. So we'll definitely be watching. All right, wanted to make sure that we also hit in the first block here a massive win for Rick Barnes and the Tennessee Volunteers basketball program, 76-73 over the third-ranked Houston Cougars. Now, look, Houston had been kind of playing with fire, right? They probably should have lost to Auburn. If Auburn doesn't shoot 42% from the foul line in that game in Birmingham, they win that game. Obviously, overtime against Syracuse, but you still got to go out there and do it. And Houston is one of the hardest teams in college basketball to kill, and they did that today, 76-73. Jacob Gillespie, 22 points, and I think the most impressive part of it, Mike, was that Jacoby Gillespie, he made all of his free throws at the end, right? Like you're waiting on, is the mistake going to come? Is he going to break one of these free throws? And he nailed every single one of them. So we'll start with Tennessee here, Mike. Just how impressive was this performance from them start to finish?
It was super impressive. I think it was their first. I get Rutgers as a high major program, but it was their first real test. Let's be honest. So I just felt like, I feel like Rick Barnes doesn't get enough credit for what he does offensively. I thought it was brilliant just to get Jacoby off the ball and to get him coming off these floppy action on the baseline, pin downs on the baseline, because then you move the defense, right? If you just want to go same side, first side with Houston, they'll blow it up. They'll put two on the ball. They'll back you into the Coffin's corner up top. Like they're so good like that. But with Jacoby on the move, now you can get the defense shifted, and they got those pocket passes. Jacoby came off, hit threes. Kingston Fleming's shortcut one in the first half, and Jacoby hit a three. But to me, games like these that are so evenly matched throughout the 40 minutes, every 50-50 ball, every rebound, the willingness to be the one that steps up in the big moments, that's what ends up tilting the scales. And for me, Jalen Carey and Bishop Boswell were the reason that Tennessee won the game.
Yes.
I thought they were tremendous on both ends. And Jalen Carey was literally came out of the womb born to play in this game. He just was. And Boswell accepted the challenge as well. And that 10 to 12 minute stretch defensively for Tennessee to start the second half is probably as good of a stretch that you've seen to this point in the college basketball season. They were phenomenal, and it was a big reason why Houston did enough work early to stay in it. But that stretch there, I thought, was really what turned the tide, and Boswell and Carey had a big hand in that.
John, let me get to you on this, because there's no doubt that in that second half, I mean, Houston was really settling. I mean, they weren't even really able to initiate an offense past the 3-point line. I don't know. Was there something Tennessee did differently in that second half that made it harder on Houston? Was it just a matter of Houston was making threes in the first half that they didn't make in the second half? Just schematically, was there anything different Tennessee did in that second half?
I think Tennessee accepted the pressure. They accepted that pressure, and they played through the pressure, back doors, pocket passes. Houston kind of faltered, and this I kind of wanted to talk about the Houston bigs because they don't have a Jawan Roberts down there. C-Neck Jr.'s freshman, Tugler. If I'm the other team, I'm just kind of making them pass to Tugler, and hey, look, if Tugler kills us, he kills us. I think he has to step up. He has to play better. He plays good defense. He rebounds. He blocks shots. But there were a lot of opportunities late in the game where he was the kind of pressure release. He hesitated. He kind of didn't know if he wanted to shoot it or not. And so I just think Tennessee handled the pressure a lot better. Their bigs finished. Their bigs passed better. So I think that's the story of the game, right? The big man situation. Tennessee's bigs look more competent. They look more confident. And Tugler and the bigs struggled. And I think that's the story. I think the guards cancel each other out. Both guards, for the most part, Flemings, who's on Sharp, play as well. They cancel each other out. But I think the bigs, like Carey comes in. I mean, how many times, being as a guy at Houston 3.5, how many times did you thought Houston was going to get back in and Carey makes a big play after big play, rebound, the free throw miss to turn to a 4-point game? Like, you don't usually see that with Houston, and I'm putting that on their bigs. They've got to figure it out. They've got to shore it up down there, and I think they'll be fine. But the guard play that Houston has, I mean, can't be mad at that. I mean, Flemings did everything under the sun. I don't know how he's not going to be a top 15 pick. Maybe they'll move him up in the draft. But, the bigs concern me. Tennessee accepted the pressure. Houston didn't. They put a lot of pressure on the guards. The bigs didn't give them any type of pressure release, and that's the ball game.
Unfortunately, Jeff, go ahead.
Henson hit it. I mean, the two things that the Carey play over Tugler, that was the play of the game. To me, that was the play of the game. And then Flemings, man, like Boswell played great defense on Flemings, but it doesn't matter. That kid, as you said, Henson, I'm watching and I'm thinking, what scoring point guard would I take over this kid? I mean, again, we haven't seen Darren Peterson, obviously, but this is a kid that we didn't really know much about coming into the year. And I will say this, give me Kingston Flemings, put the ball in his hands, and I trust him more than I don't want to say any guard, but he's right up there right now. He can just go get one whenever he wants, because Boswell was playing unbelievable defense on him, and it didn't matter.
He was dropping the ball. He was dropping Boswell off at the daycare with the kids. Like, he was dropping them off. Like, he was impressive.
But you said it. It was like Sinak wasn't giving him enough, right? Like, he was fine in there as a freshman, but he wasn't giving him enough. And I also thought kind of the one thing with Flemings having the ball in his hands that much, I think like sometimes those other guys are standing around a little bit. Sharp and Uzan are standing around kind of waiting.
It was the whole game. It was the whole game.
Yeah.
The whole game. Like, I do want to bring this up because I was going to say, like, 7 of 11 panelists polled at Field of 68 had Houston in the Final Four, and 4 of 11 had them as national champions. They don't look like either of those things right now. And people will say, oh, they're young. Well, Kingston Flemings is part of that youth, and he had 25 tonight. So, how much older is he really going to get in 4 months? I mean, I think he's already great now. I think what happened is that people really underestimated the loss of not just Jawan Roberts, but also Javier Francis, who was an awesome big off the bench for you, and LJ Cryer, who is a massive shot maker and could hit from multiple levels, not just a catch and shoot guy. So, and they've replaced them with guys who are, okay, and unproven. Flemings again looks great, but I think Henson is right. The bigs is a real issue. And I don't think this Houston team has the look of a Final Four. And I love Kelvin Sampson teams, but I just don't think this one will
can't
get
believe
there.
you're
Mike, I
saying
know you
that
had a
now.
thought.
Don't say that.
Of course I'm
It's
saying it now.
November.
Of course I'm
Don't
saying it
say
now
that.
because you either look like it or you don't.
I'm
You either
looking
look
at
like
the-
a Final Four team or you don't.
I'm looking at the bigs on other teams. Like look what like Tennessee, like think about who they're gonna have to come against. Like this is a big man era. Like this who getting paid right now. Like if you don't have bigs, you're gonna get bullied in one of those 6 games leading to the championship eventually. So that's what I worry about. Tugler's a little bit undersized. And the more and more Rob compared me to Tugler.
And he has no
I think we
offense.
can start off.
He has no
I think we
offense,
can-
John. Tugler has
Listen.
0 bag. It's just
Listen,
the
I
truth.
averaged 13. Listen, I averaged 13 on a team with 2. Like, you know, I could go hook him. I could dunk you. Like Tugler's got to
Right.
try to, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
He's
if you
got-
gave
he's
me
gotta
down,
do
listen,
something.
the shots Tugler was getting, I would have had 25 tonight. I would have had 25. It would have been light. So I worry about them and their bigs because eventually
Look, they're gonna Mike. I know you
there's
seem
good
like you
guards
had a thought.
everywhere. For sure. So
Well, I'm just saying, like, Henson's hitting on the bigs, and he's right. Jeff made the point too, but like, this is probably the first game, maybe the Auburn game a little bit, but you really felt the departure of Juwan Roberts in this game. And the reason
Absolutely.
for that is in the second half, Sinak, he jumps out on Gillespie on that floppy action pin down underneath the baseline and jumps out too early, and Cade Phillips slips to the basket for a layup. And then later, a few minutes later, late in the game, he busts a switch on the inbounds with Gillespie hitting a 3. Just little stuff like that Juwan Roberts and it's not that like, hey, Juwan Roberts is this much better of a player, just more experienced. And that's where it shows up in these big games, in these big moments. And I think the other part of this too for Houston is, they missed 15 of 17 shots at one point in this game. And I keep going back to it because last year, they only got 26% of their shots at the rim. Well, the national average is like 33%. It's about a third. The national average, a third of a team's shots come at the rim. It was 26% last year, which is not good, but you could mitigate that with Cryer's ability to make shots off the bounce, with Uzan's ability to make shots off the bounce, with Sharp's ability to make shots off the bounce. And Uzan this year, coming into this game, I think it went up after tonight, 26% off the bounce this year, after 40% last year. And even Cryer was the guy that it felt like when all failed, he could go up there and step up and make a big shot.
And he delivered,
They're
by
at
the way. He delivered.
19% of their shots this year at the rim. 19. It was 26 last year, which already wasn't good. It's 19 this year. So now that puts even more strain and has to have Sinak and these guys that are freshmen, Harwell, they have to step up sooner because you're gonna have stretches like that if Flemings and Uzan can't get downhill. Because we know Tugler and like that's not their game, low block, like you to your point, Henson.
And
Exactly.
I was going to say too, more offensively though, for sure concerned, but defensively, like you're not used to seeing offensive rebounds. Listen, Tugler has been on about 5 posters down there in Vegas. Been getting punched on, like,
Bro, you're right. You're so right.
Offensively, yeah, like we're concerned, but like defensively, like it looked. I mean,
The identity doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, like Cat is flying in there.
In Houston's defense, they are a team because they extend their defense and put 2 on the ball. Yeah. They do give up offensive rebounds. Two years ago in the Big 12 tournament, they gave up 30 in a game. And so that's going to happen. You go back like over the years, Houston defensive rebounding, it's not where you would think it is nationally because the trade-off is that they turn teams over and that they force low shot quality. So I'll defend Houston there, but to your point, John, like it's a concern, and we knew this coming into the season because of the youth that's out there. And I think Fleming's like there was a point in the game where I was like, yep, lottery pick. And it wasn't because of driving downhill, getting downhill, laying the ball off the glass, and ones, threes. It wasn't that. It was he had an and one in the first half, and the play before he shortcut a screen on the baseline for Gillespie, and Gillespie hit a 3. The second Flemings got the and one, he immediately wasn't celebrating, wasn't like showing his jersey or doing anything, dapping guys up. He turned and looked at Kelvin Sampson and said, "That's my bad. I got a trail. And like that, I saw that. I was like, yep, sold. I think you got
This game,
Fleming, dude.
He's
Flemings
good,
is a
bro.
dude. He is a
Yeah.
dude. You said it better than anybody could. He is elite, and we'll move on to the next game. But man, I can't say enough about Kingston Flemings. Love him.
Well, before we do move on, this game was played in the Elite Eight of last year's NCAA tournament. It was 69-50 in Houston's favor. A big part of why the result was different this year is Jacoby Gillespie, who again had 22 points tonight and was absolutely clutch in the final couple minutes at the free throw line. We got a chance to catch up with Jacoby. Take a listen.
All right, Jacoby. New team. You hadn't really played a opponent like Houston. You win this game in kind of a grinder fashion. How much do you think this made of a statement for you guys that, hey, you know what? We are for real?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say we have played we played Duke in the preseason, an exhibition.
I'm not counting those exhibitions, man. I'm only counting the real games that count.
We did play in that game, so I feel like we seen in the end of the game how grimy we have to be to get those wins. And I feel like just how hard we've been practicing and everything like that. We knew what it would take to get this win, and we really wanted it. So, yeah.
I thought you didn't have your most efficient game, but everybody kind of picked up. You made big plays at the end. Jalen made a huge putback. I thought Bishop played great defense, even though Kingston, got his. Team effort, is that what this team's kind of going to be and has to be?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we missed a lot of opportunities. We missed some open shots that we usually think we would make. But, yeah, I mean, we're really together. We love playing with each other. So I feel like this was just an overall team win.
How underrated do you think you are? Because I think a lot of people, when they talk about some of the top guards in the country, your name is not mentioned, even with what you did last year.
I mean, it's all right. I mean, that can be I showed tonight, I feel like, I'm one of the top guards, but I don't really pay attention to that. They can say stuff about me or not. It's whatever.
What's the ultimate goal for this team? I mean, obviously, everybody says national title, everything like that, but not a lot of people were talking about you guys in the preseason as a team that could, maybe win the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, we want to show people I feel like we're the best team in the SEC or in the country. I feel like our main goal is to win a national championship.
You got to bring the young guy along, Nate. Bring him along a little bit here. I mean, today he was in foul trouble a little bit, but obviously we know how talented he is.
Yeah, I mean, Nate's a special player. He's definitely a big part of this team, and we know he'll come along. I mean, I feel like he played good today for being in foul trouble. So, yeah, we're good.
Thanks, Jacoby. Appreciate it, man.
Fantastic interview from the man we call the Barbara Walters of college basketball journalism. Rest in peace, Barbara, Boston native. Jeff, we've talked about Houston, and that's the nature of it, right? Because they were in the championship game last year. And again, 7 of 11 panelists at Field of 68 picked Houston to go to the Final Four. But this Tennessee team, Tennessee's never been to a Final Four. What's their ceiling?
It's funny. I mean, I was the one kind of who said, early on this year, they didn't play anybody. Now they start to play people starting tonight. This was the first one where we got a good feel for how good they were. But let's face it, they played basically 6 bye games to start the year. They did. 5 bye games in Rutgers. I'm calling it 6. But Tennessee, well, I mean, come on. Have you seen?
No, it is. I mean, it is.
In person. It's like a bye game right now. But
they spent all their money last year, Goody. They
did. They went through it all. They had nothing left. Nothing left for this year. 0.
That's crazy.
Gillespie's one of the better guards in the country. He's small, but man, he can score it. He can make people better as well. Obviously, Nate Ament's a guy that it's going to take a little bit more time for him than some of these other freshmen. I think, you've seen big numbers from him so far, but again, part of it is he's going against a lot of low and mid-major guys. Let's see what happens here when he goes up against some men. He got in foul trouble. I thought he competed tonight, but again, he's going to be overmatched. The big key for me really comes at the wing spot, right? Again, I like Gillespie. I love their bigs. I friggin' love their collection of bigs. Okpara is older. He's got a little bit better. We talked about Jalen Carey. They bring on Estrella off the bench, a kid from Maine who's really good. Like, that's not really the issue. Point guard's not the issue. To me, it's their wings. Do they have a dude on the wing. Can Nate Ament be that guy at the 3? He's got a body that reminds me of somebody I'm looking at right now, John Henson. Not quite the same length, but he could have a meal or two.
Yeah. Lot of talent though. There's no doubt in Nate Ament. Now, we talked about who everybody thought would go to the Final
Wish
Four.
I was that good. I'd probably still be playing.
You had a good enough career, man. All right. It lasted a good amount of time. One team nobody picked from the field of 68 to go to the Final Four. Well, there's 2 really, but one was in action tonight, and they put belt to ass in Gonzaga. So Goodman is going to come back and apologize for the disrespect that he showed Mark Few and Gonzaga as they advance to the title game of the Players Era Festival. We'll do that when we get back. You watch Field of 68 After Dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. With media days and on-site events the last 2 months, travel for me has been crazy. Luckily, I had Huel. This month, Huel launched in Target stores nationwide. Both of their ready-to-drink products are now available. The Black Edition has 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, and is gluten-free for under $5 a meal. The Daily Greens Edition, which I have here, peach hibiscus flavored, was developed by registered nutritionists and dietitians with 42 vitamins and minerals and superfoods, with just 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber, and only 1 gram of sugar. When you're busy with work, travel, children, and just life in general, Huel makes sneaking in meals quick, easy, and most importantly, healthy. Pick them up in Target stores nationwide, or if you're a first-time customer, get 15% off your purchase with the promo code F68 at Huel. That's HUEL.com/F68.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark. We're 4 wide tonight. Man, it was a fucking awesome night of college basketball. It really.
Do you have to use a profanity? I mean, you have to use a profanity there.
I did.
I mean, there
There
are kids watching.
The last time I did this show, Rob Doster, I think hit 6 F-bombs. So that's my one. I used it, and we're done. We're here tonight. Jeff Goodman, John Henson, Mike LaTulip. I'm John Martin. By the way, Jeff, are you surviving? You've been out there for a couple of days now.
I'm up. I'm still up after 2 days. I'm plus 350. But the problem is I'm plus 350, but the family is down. So really that's an issue, right? The family
it
overall,
is an issue.
Wife
That's
and daughter
on you.
both down. Yeah, that is. Probably is. Everything's my fault.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the lesson is you don't bring the family, man. You just go alone. I mean, it just
What do you mean? I love my
Jeff,
family.
do you hit on 16? Do you hit on 16s or no? That's my question for you.
Yeah, on a face card, absolutely. You got to live on the edge, Henson. What does the book say to do? Stay at 16 against 20.
You can't win without cards on the table, baby. Remember that.
That's right.
well, it depends. I mean, are you counting? If you're counting, then the book might have, are you you over there?
Henson went
not
to Carolina.
enough.
Even if he's counting, what do you think is going to happen if he's counting? He went to Carolina.
We're more into like poker games. So.
That's insane. That is an insane stray, bro. Unbelievable. All right, we'll let them settle that after the show. The Players Era Championship game is set, boys. I mean, this is huge. Gonzaga absolutely puts belt to ass. They said they want to play for the Millie in the title game, and they handle Maryland 100-61 is your final. It was just a front to back domination, Mike. I'm just curious, just in terms of that incentive You know, they knew they needed to win by 13 or 14 or more, and they really came out with the energy that, and looked like they tried to do that.
Well, I think it's a really mature team to begin with. I think it kind of brings me into my point about this Gonzaga team, how they remind me a lot of, and they're different, like personalities are different, but they remind me a lot of Auburn last year, and where Auburn was at in November because of their age, because of their experience, Gonzaga being the second oldest team in America, the understanding of the game, the understanding of kind of what it takes to win. It doesn't shock me at all they came out and just ran Maryland out of the gym. I just think the length and physicality they have defensively has been the difference for me to start the season for Gonzaga. I think Foster Grant and has had a big hand in that, but Adam Miller as well as Saint-Supéry nailed it. Yeah. We've seen teams try to make improvements over the years to parts of their roster. Hey, we want to get, we want to have more length, we want to be more active defensively. And a lot of times you start conceding other areas that you were really great at. And Gonzaga hasn't had to make that sacrifice. They've gotten better defensively, and they're still a machine offensively. I think Stephen Gentry, the offensive coordinator there at Gonzaga, deserves a ton of credit for that because they're just as potent on that end. So they're right now, I think they're the best team in America right now. And honestly, they should be with the age and with the experience. We'll see who passes them up as the season goes on and teams grow and develop. But right now, I think they're certainly the most complete team in America.
John, I mean, if Mike says that and their body of work obviously suggests that they're in that conversation, but it just feels like we were not talking about Gonzaga like that in the preseason. Obviously, ranked team, top 25 team. We knew they had the pieces to possibly, make a run like Mark Few always does. But it just seems like they're coming in at a level that we didn't necessarily expect this early in the season.
Yeah, I think we get bored with how good they always are, right? They're always up there. We always talk about them, how good they're going to be or could be. I think this year with Grant Foster, even Ike, I think Gonzaga's got a little soul now. Like they got a little soul. Like Grant Foster is kind of shifty. You know what I'm saying? He can get to the Baja, right? Like Ike's a monster down there. He's a dog. Like like they've got a couple guys that like, that'll try to step on your neck. And you saw it tonight. Like we got to win by 14 points. Let's beat them by 40. Like that's how I like to play. Like I hate when coaches call the dogs off and, we want to be nice. Nah, beat them by 50. So, like, they've got that in them this year, and I think that's what's going to take them to the next level. Obviously, we talked about the defense over and over. They're one of his best defenses or defensive teams he's ever had. So, that's I think, is a difference, man. They've got a squad, and they've got a guy in Grant Foster, like, they can kind of roll the ball, too, and he can make something shake when there's nothing there, which is good to have sometimes with the big fellas down there, Huff as well, like, I mean, I hope they're not peaking. That's what I worry about, right? Just peaking too early.
Jeff?
I love the kid Saint-Supéry, to be honest. I think he's a guy. It's part of why we didn't have Gonzaga ranked high. We didn't know about him, right? We just didn't know about him.
Grant Foster wasn't eligible either for a while.
Yeah. So there were major question marks that I think exist on a lot of these rosters going into this year because of the international influx, right? We just haven't seen these guys. So Saint-Supéry is a guy that, man, watching him in person, he's got good size. He really competes on the defensive end, a little bit limited athletically, but a good athlete, not a great athlete. And he's a guy that just finds dudes, right? Like he can get in the seams. He can kick it to dudes. He can, to be honest, he just makes life easier for everybody else. And he gives them kind of an edge, too. He talks some shit. So I just like their team, how it's constructed. Now, I can't wait for tomorrow night to see the big man matchup between Gonzaga's bigs, right? Ike and Huff, and obviously Michigan's kind of whatever you want to call it, three-headed monster. Because Yaxel, like we talked about, he's not like a traditional big. We call him that, but he's just kind of a versatile, multi-dimensional forward is really what he is.
Yeah, it just seemed like
It's the ultimate litmus test. Like if you all the things that we talked about with Michigan earlier in the show, it's like if you sat here and you're like, who's the one team you'd want to see them against? It's Gonzaga because of the bigs and the positional size. That's going to be an unbelievable game.
It absolutely is, and that's why it's like everybody just spent the whole day arguing about the event and what it needs to be and where these games need to be played. Like, yo, we're getting Michigan and Gonzaga tomorrow. Can you shut the hell up? Like, it's fine. You can play it in Anchorage, Alaska. It's fine.
And Maui was still fine today. It was still fine.
Right.
Fine. It's not as
Still
good.
had some good games.
We know that.
Yeah.
Right. It's not high powered. I get it that things have changed, and I don't want to get on the soapbox here, but I do want
We can
a few
do it
seconds.
in the afters. We can talk about it in the afters if you
All right,
want to
that's
get it
fine.
off your chest.
Yeah, we'll hit on it
Yeah.
later. Let's hit in a few more
It was
teams.
definitely on my, it was
We got a
definitely on
few
my
more,
side
but-
screen. It was on the main screen. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. All right. Obviously, a few more games that we want to touch on before we get out of here. We'll do toast of the night in the afters as well. St. John's handles business. John Henson, 96-81 against Baylor today. Pretty dominant performance from St. John's, and again, 96. I mean, that offense is humming, and it's been humming for the majority of the year. What do you make of this St. John's team, John, and just sort of what they've put out there so far on tape?
I love them as a team. I think consistency is the issue, right? They put up 96 a day. They look like the team we thought they were. I think Rick Pitino coming off a loss, they probably were it's probably a rough night for them. So I love what they have. The three bigs they have, with the guard play, I think they could be a really good team. Jackson came off the bench. So I like him off the bench right now. He's a little more ferocious, a little more fierce, looks a little more hungry off the bench. So all in all, man, St. John's did what they were supposed to do. I thought Baylor was better, personally. I thought Baylor was a better team than they showed today.
Yeah.
Carr is obviously really good, but I was disappointed more so on Baylor than impressed with St. John's. I really thought Baylor was one of those teams that were on the rise.
Mike, any thoughts on St. John's here?
Yeah, I think you can see that Pitino defensive grit just like slowly being infused into this new group. Like today felt like the first real like 40 minutes that they were really getting after their opponent. Like they have enough matchup winners offensively. I'm not worried about that end. I think Hopkins is showing you exactly what he can do especially when you have the other bigs on the floor. It's like he's probably going to be matched up with either a slow-footed big or a wing that's maybe a little bit undersized, and he just puts you in jail and puts you under the basket. So I thought to start this game, their first shot defense was fabulous. The activity, the aggression. The problem is you allowed 17 offensive rebounds in the first half. Rata had 8 offensive rebounds in the first half. He had never had 8 in an entire game in his 97 career games. He's had more than 5 once. And so you could look at that and be like, hey, Ejiofor, Hopkins, Mitchell, like we need you. It's the guards. Dylan Darling, Sellers, 0 rebounds in the first half. And then you see clearly the message was sent at halftime, and Darling gets 2 rebounds in the first 2 minutes of the second half. Goes in there, sticks his nose in there, gets a steal. I really like the makeup of this group. And part of that is because I think Dylan Mitchell's one of the best 6 men in America. Just look at what he's doing, not only just like on the glass, he can obviously score. He had 18 points today, but he was guarding Tamin Lipsey yesterday. And he's at the point of attack defensively. He's guarding wings. You move him all over. He's on the ball in their press. It's just what a valuable piece to have coming off the bench. And then Sellers is exactly what that team needed last year. Just like come in, dead eye, space the floor, and then you touched on Ian Jackson. I like this role for him. Don't need to overthink. We don't need you to be a point guard. Come in, just play end to end. Get out in transition, get downhill, and leave out all the rest. And I think it's turning into like before the season, we looked at the St. John's team. We were like, who's the point guard? Is it Darling? Can it be Darling? How are they going to make this work offensively? It's coming into form, I think, sooner than I thought it would for this team.
Dylan Mitchell, Henson Select product out of Tampa, Florida. Just saying.
There we go.
Nobody
There we go.
Nobody knows that. I saw it.
I figured. you schooled well.
Yeah. You know,
I was
shout out
just
to
by the way,
Donovan Mitchell, man.
Baylor's going to be fine. They returned literally 0 minutes from last year. Like it was probably always going to be a bit of an
AU team out there, man. They trying to figure it out on the fly, man.
But I will say with Baylor though, this was my concern because I thought St. John's would cruise in this game today, and part of that is because with Cam Carr and Yesufu, like talented players, no doubt, but they are the two guys that I worry about them getting others involved. That's not their strength. And so when like they're 2 out of their 3 best playmakers are Rattah and Skillings. And I just think when you play a front court like that and those two are neutralized, Rattah wasn't on the boards, but from a playmaking standpoint, it gets thin for Baylor from a playmaking standpoint. So that's my concern with them on that end. And so I don't know. But again, no minutes returning, no scoring returning. It's going to take time for them.
Right. All right. Let's hit Iowa State, who keeps rolling. 78-60 over Creighton. Whew. Tough times in Omaha right now, but things are rolling in Ames. There's no question about that. Jeff Goodman, Josh Jefferson, 18 and 10. Again, final score 78-60. It's kind of brutal that you're not going to play in the title game, having beaten St. John's and having beaten Creighton the way they did. But I'm not gonna. I got too much going on, man. I got a third kid on the way. I got enough going on in the world to bleed too bad for Iowa State not playing the players there a title game. They'll be fine. But just in terms of what you're seeing from this Iowa State team with Tamin Lipsey and being hurt, I mean, just how impressive was this performance from Iowa State today?
Yeah, I mean, Creighton isn't very good. They're just not. It's going to be a long year for Creighton. And I feel bad because it's Greg McDermott. It might be his last year. And they just don't have a typical Creighton team. Obviously the big guy without Kalkbrenner, they're completely different. But they don't have a dude. And, Iowa State, without Lipsey, I don't want to say they're used to playing without Lipsey, but they played without him a lot last year. So some of those guys, Monsilovich, Jefferson, have been used to it. And the kid Torre came in. He's a Brewster Academy product as a freshman. Not a big-time shooter, but, man, he saw him yesterday. Like, he gets after it defensively. And not a big-time shooter, but showed that he can kind of run the team. Had 20 points today. And they're just a culture program. Like, they're just a culture. And Jefferson's awesome. And Monsilovich, I think, has taken the jump this year, finally. Yesterday, he was phenomenal, sensational. And again, I don't think this win shows me much more. I think with Lipsey, you're talking about if you go in with Lipsey, Monsilovich, and Jefferson, I'm not sure how many teams have a better trio than that three in terms of what they bring to the table, in terms of how they play off one another.
Yeah.
Jeff,
I think that's the idea, right, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, you just hit on it, Jeff. These are the type of wins today that validate your culture and validate what TJ Otzberger's built at Iowa State. Because this was all culture and identity day. You're down your point guard, he's out. And from the jump, I thought they made life difficult on Creighton. Creighton had 10 first half turnovers. But Joshua Jefferson, he added more of the ball handling responsibilities to his plate last season when Gilbert and Lipsey were just constantly in and out of the lineup to end the year. And frankly, like, he struggled with ball security. He had a couple games of 4 turnovers. He had a 5 turnover game. He had a 7 turnover game in a loss to Oklahoma State. And you see today, he seems so much more settled. He took care of the ball, only 2 turnovers. He was diligent posting those smaller guards. He hit the trail 3 on the break. He was everywhere. Toure, I tuned into their Mississippi State game earlier in the year. It was admittedly my first time watching Iowa State this year. I thought for sure Toure was like a 5th-year transfer. I was looking it up. I was like, I mean, he plays like it, man.
He stands out.
Oh my God! Like, he does not play like a freshman whatsoever. So that trio, you touched on it. Jeff. That trio, including Lipsey, but not including Lipsey today, and adding in Toure, like that was an awesome trio today.
Yeah.
John, last word on Iowa State.
Iowa State's good. Creighton needs some Popeye spinach ASAP. Jeff, deliver that. They need something down there. They need they need the spinach to come in and bulk up or something, because they're just getting bullied. They just don't have that heart, that fight. So It's not normal for a Greg McDermott team. So it's weird watching them play like this, be like this. But Iowa State, they're always going to be solid. You know, to echo your point on Torrey, like when I was watching the game with the sound off, I was like, who is that? And he just stood out to me the way he plays, his energy. So Iowa State's going to be fine. Hopefully Lipsy gets healthy. A healthy Lipsy, this team maybe could break through this year. They've been right at the edge for a long time.
All right, we're going to head over to the.
I do think they could. I know, John. We're gonna wrap here in a second, but we didn't mention, Blake Buchanan coming from Virginia, and he's really good defensively, and they got some young bigs, but again, it comes down to the culture. And Iowa State, I agree with you, Henson. I think if they stay healthy, and Lipsy specifically, because before he got hurt last night, the one thing I'll say is now he was missing some shots. I don't care. I want to see like aggressive, assertive Tamin Lipsy. And we saw that before the injury. Now, I don't know how long he's going to be out. I don't expect he'll play tomorrow. But to me, that's what they need. That's what they need.
Yeah, TJ Otzelberger did a great job just building that program up. There's no question about it. All right, we're going to head to the afters, and Goodman's got some stuff he wants to get off his chest. All of the college basketball people that were chirping Goodman all day long about where he was and who's he taking money from, he's got some words. So we're going to head over to the afters. For Mike LaTulip, for Jeff Goodman, for John Henson, I'm John Martin. Catch you on the afters.
These my DJ Burns shades I had for. That was like taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die got to be one of the black guys. They're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
Welcome to the afters. John Martin, John Henson, Mike LaTulip, Jeff Goodman. I like that. It's like Blade almost. You like the Blade shade.
After I did the life, I got the afters, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's like you're oh man, I did not get the memo.
Yeah,
I did not get the.
Come on, Jeff.
What is Goodman going to pop out with?
Should I put my chain on? Should I put my chain on too? Y'all want the chain?
Damn, This is crazy. Not the chain.
I'm looking. I don't think I have it. I think it's back at the hotel.
Oh
no,
I'm not going band for band with Henson.
Sorry,
Great. That's exactly right. When he starts talking about chains and shit, I'm like, all right, I got one on, but I'm not showing that shit.
It's fake, man. This is fake. No, this is fake.
John Martin's got a 901 chain, a big 901 chain.
That's right. I'm not pulling it out, bro. It's an NBA player. I'm not pulling that out. He's got like a pension and shit. I'm not doing it. All right. Dagan, do we have anything off the rip? Because I mean, a lot of the conversation today in our group and elsewhere on social media was just people are accusing the Players Era Goodman of like sucking the soul out of college basketball. That it's killing Maui. That it's killing the vaunted Charleston and Orlando MTEs. Listen, I think it's a business. College sports is a business, and if we want to start with the list of issues that are plaguing this sport, the death of MTEs is extremely low on that list for me. But where are you on that discussion and the merits of it?
I mean, it has killed some of those MTEs. Frankly, it has. I mean, I was just in Charleston. It's a shell of itself. There's no longer. Battle for Atlantis. I think there might be an event there, but it's not a high major event. Maui is completely watered down. I understand how fans are frustrated because it's not what it once was. Well, neither is college basketball. The portal, NIL, all that is much more important than the death or the alteration of the MTEs. This event, to me, is great. Now, again, it would be even better if they can get Duke, Kentucky, UConn. And the only way they're going to get those teams is probably pay them more than $1 million to be a part of it. Because one of the things you guys got to realize is, like, these teams to come here, give up the elite teams, the Kansases, to come here, they get about $750,000 or $1 million per home game. So to come here for $1 million isn't even worth it for the Kansases, the Dukes. So you got to pay them more than that. But I think ultimately, from my standpoint, it's great because it's one-stop shopping. And I think for the sport, again, yes, it's different. It's still great games, and there are plenty of fans here. Those people that are saying, like, well, it's empty. Yes, in the end zones, it's sparse. But if you look, behind the benches, midcourt, it's pretty crowded. I've been to these things over and over and over. I know LaTulip and Henson have played in these. Now, Henson has probably played in front of big crowds because Carolina, they show up, the fans, right? Duke shows up. Kentucky, Kansas shows up. Yes, obviously, if you're going to have Alabama in a game, they're not showing up the same way that those other schools are. But again, to me, the attendance was fine. That's not the issue. A lot better than it was a year ago, and I think next year it'll get even better. Let's stop complaining about this. Embrace the fact that, you know what? Yes, it's changing, but this event is fun to be at, fun to cover, fun to play in. Sure, there are some issues that need to be resolved with it going forward. They're going to do 32 teams next year. They're trying to figure out the format, but it's probably going to be 1 week, 16 teams, the next week, 16 teams, and then the final week, the top 4 teams coming out and playing for the $1 million. So I don't think the teams love that format, but for $1 million, they'll do it.
Got to adapt. I think you got to adapt. You got to adapt. I think they talked about this on TV today. Like, look, they're changing the game. This is what happens in real life, right? If you don't adapt and change, Maui's going to have to figure out how do they adapt and compete. And I think it's good. I listened to Lane Kiffin today, and they're talking about, hey, how are your players treating this? He's like, well, what do you mean? They could leave too. Like, this is a 1-year rental. So everything's changing, just like the tournaments are. And I think this is great. If I was playing, I would tell my coach, hey, look, if there's any chance we can play in this, let's do it. I want to play for the money. And as a coach, you probably want your kids motivated. And it's probably a fun trip, be in Vegas with your team for a week, come back. The NBA did it, midseason tournament. I think that's just the new wave of sports, and colleges getting on board. And if these tournaments don't want to become extinct, get you some sponsors, get you some people behind it, and you can do the same thing.
Yeah. Mike, do you have any thoughts on, the purity of college basketball being vanquished by NIL MTEs?
I mean, it didn't feel like anybody had a problem with the PK80, did they?
No, it's great. PK80 was great. Awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
To me, but yeah.
But I'm saying, like, the players era gives me like a PK80 type of vibe in a way. I mean, it's a much larger field, obviously, than PK80 was. I don't know. I just feel like anything else, fans are reluctant to change. They just are. It's the same thing. Well, they're never going to pay players, are they? And they're never going to, the whole, like, not having to sit out for transfers. I mean, people couldn't fathom where we're at now in college basketball. And now you just got to live with the fact that there's going to be changes to events like this. And I'm watching Tennessee Houston. I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of great. I mean, I know Rutgers, Tennessee at 10 a.m. Pacific time, probably not going to be, you're not going to be standing up in your living room.
That would have sucked anywhere, though. That would have sucked in Maui.
That's what I'm saying.
There's
MTEs everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I was lucky enough to play in the Maui Invitational, win the Maui Invitational in 2012. And yeah, I mean, the Lahaina Civic Center, like, that is what is it, Jeff? 2,500 seats?
Right. That's 1,800? Right. That's what people don't understand is, yes, these venues are probably a little bit too big for this year, right? They're probably too big. But ultimately, right, I mean, like some of the Maui, it's tiny. It's tiny. Yes, the atmosphere looks better on TV. Of course it does. But we'll see where this thing goes in a year or two. This could be the type of event where, and again, you're not going to fill up every game. You're not going to fill up every game. And stop complaining. Stop complaining. Yes. I'm not going to drop the F-bomb here, John. I'm not doing it.
Thank you. Well, I think Henson hit it right. The world changes. It's actually a blessing to have Jeff on the show because he's old enough to remember having a beeper. He's old enough to remember when he had a house phone. When you used a house phone, right?
Also,
and then the house phone becomes a cell phone, right? And
I had the new cell phone. I had the first edition of the cell phone, the big ass cell phone in the bag. back when I was at Arizona. Yeah, it was special. Now
Yeah,
beeper,
so the
I
point
all
is-
of it.
The world
8-track
changes.
tapes, cassette, whatever it was, 8-track.
The 8-track became the CD. The CD became the MP3. I mean, the world moves, the technology changes, what we need changes, and you have to adapt and evolve with it, or else you're going to get left behind. All right, Dagan, what do you got for us tonight, man?
All right, fellas, I got a few questions from the chat. This one is a super chat from our guy Jay Cart. Wants to know, in today's college basketball, would you rather have a better front court or a better back court? Again, thanks, Jay Cart, for the super chat.
Well, we know what Henson's going to say.
Well,
we got a guard and a big. So
there's a lot more elite guards out there than there are elite bigs. So I feel like I have a better chance of getting an elite backcourt than an elite front court. So that's what I'm going to go for first. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. Like,
you can't win without an elite. You can't win without guards.
For sure.
You can't.
For sure.
You can't.
But
you can't
guards
win
are
without
easier
bigs.
to meet.
Right.
You can't without bigs, but I feel like elite guard play, it's easier to find.
Sure.
Big, in my opinion. And that's why I would
But
that's what I would take first.
Florida doesn't win the title without Walter Clayton Jr.'s fucking astronomical.
Yeah, but they
run
also
in that
have
tournament.
no chance if they don't get 40% of the offensive boards. They don't
Number
they
three,
get the
I mean,
ball
you're
back.
right.
You get 2 strikes. I mean, 3. You get
I know.
three
I'm
strikes,
already
you're
on
out.
probation with the network. Don't worry. You're not going to get a
I
third.
mean, Todd Golden said it best. He said, well, look, when we get another rebound, I tell Walter to shoot a 3. The percentages are on our side. Who's got to get the board?
True.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like, yeah. I mean, if I had to start a college basketball team, would I start with an elite guard or elite big? It'd be elite big. It'd be elite big.
Really?
Do you have a different answer, Mike?
I would not at all.
Yes, I'd start
No
with an elite
chance.
big. If I had to start, I'm starting with an
Zero
elite big,
chance I
100%.
would do that.
100%.
No way.
We
You
just
can have
talked.
elite big.
We did a whole show.
Here's what I'm gonna tell
We did
you.
a whole show about Dusty May and Yaxel Lendeborg. We did a whole
I'm
show
just
on it.
telling you. You can have Zuby, but if you have Dylan Darling with Zuby, you're not winning a title. You're not winning a title. That's all I'm telling you.
I mean, we could play that game.
I'd agree.
We could play.
I'd agree.
We could play lots
I'd
of
agree,
games like
but-
that, though. I mean,
I'd agree, but I mean, it's like, I think the question is, what do you have to go? You have to secure big first. I feel like guards, you could go get you a nice guard. I feel like if you want a big, you got to go get him. If not, it's going to be a slow day for you.
all right, Mike. Right now, I'll play this game with Mike. All right, Mike, pick a guard in college basketball right now. I'm gonna pair him with a big. I'm picking the big. You pick the guard.
Braden Smith.
All right, I'm giving you Aaron Bradshaw. You're winning a title with Braden Smith and Aaron Bradshaw.
No, but come on. No.
All right,
That's
do the
what
opposite.
You guys
Come
told me
on,
a guard. You guys told me a
John,
guard.
that's not
It's
just
a guard's
any big
game.
there. That's a crazy
Yeah,
stray.
no, you're right.
That's a crazy stray.
That's a good. That is a good.
Here's
that
what
is
I'm
a
going to
good
tell
one.
you.
I mean,
Wait.
little aggressive.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Donovan Dent tonight for UCLA had 3 points and is 1 for 8 with 6 turnovers. Guess what happened? UCLA is going to lose to Cal. All I'm telling you is you go as your point guard goes. You go as your point guard goes. It's not to say you can't win games at times, but
I'm
you
with
better
Jeff.
have a really good point guard.
I'm with Jeff.
All right. So the guards go with guards and the bigs go with bigs. That's about as
Point guard
expected.
play.
I think you don't win without a good guard, but as far as like what you need to go get first, I think you got to look at your front line because I feel like there are more elite guard. There's a more elite guard available.
Yeah.
The
Who
elite bigs-
costs more? Who costs more in the portal? Who costs more?
But you
Because
also
the
need.
elite
big.
bigs
Think
right
about.
now-
We talked about the Final
big.
Four. We talked about the Final Four. What's the common denominator with all those teams? Multiple bigs.
Right.
Hold on,
It
fellas.
wasn't just
Hold
one.
on, fellas. Hold on. Let's pause. We have a stipulation now thrown in. J Card adds another $1.99 super chat to say I'm not talking
Nice.
one big. I'm talking depth of bigs.
Oh,
There
that's,
you go.
That's what Mike just answered it. Yeah. There's no question.
I mean,
There's
yeah.
no- I mean, that's how Florida.
Depth
I mean,
of
Florida
bigs
had
versus a
Florida had
guard.
3
Yes,
bigs. Yeah,
it's bigs. Yeah.
Right.
exactly. All right. What else, Dagan?
All right, fellas. Next one, we're going to go to Maui quickly. This one from our friend Bram in the chat. What team are you guys more concerned about, Texas or NC State, after disappointing results on day one of Maui?
Jeff?
Texas. I think NC State has enough to compete for one of the top spots in the ACC too. Texas I worry about. I just don't know. Like, Texas doesn't have a guy. Like, they got some good players, but they don't have a Darian Williams. So I worry a little bit about Sean Miller this year in year one being kind of mediocre. I think they'll be a tournament team. I think they'll be better than they were under Rodney Terry, but I don't think they're going to set the world on fire this year, not in the SEC.
Mike?
That's pretty easy answer to me too. I think
Okay.
NC State is. Yeah, they just got the talent. I think that's a pretty easy answer.
Yeah, I think it's Texas too, but I will say on NC State, I just think, Jeff, you're talking about them competing at the top of the ACC. I don't see. I think Duke and Louisville. I think that's like a whole nother class. And I think honestly, like for this NC State team, watching them today, it's like they have a 7.5 minute scoring drought, and I just wonder at times who's setting the table for that team. And, they got Holloman. They got a lot of guys. Obviously, Darian Williams is phenomenal, but he's not a guy that's like inbound the ball to Darian, and be like an offensive engine. He was a part of that Texas Tech offense last year. Holloman was a part of Michigan State. Copeland was a part of McNeese State. They got a lot of like really good parts, but who can be the table setter for that team? And for me, like, I think it's pretty simple for NC State, because if you watch today, they took off once their defense started clicking. They started forcing turnovers. They could get out and run. I think right now they're 53rd nationally defensively. They have to be top 30. That group has to be top 30 to be a team that's like has aspirations beyond just like make the tournament, like win multiple games in the tournament, win a game in the tournament. That has to be a top 30 defense, because I worry about that offense long term in terms of like getting into conference play when teams are blowing up your first action, when it's not a one-day prep like it is at Maui. I just think they're going to need to lean on their defense more, and so it needs to improve, and I'm confident it will.
All right, Dagan, what else we looking at?
All right, next one, fellas. We're going to get away from the MTEs, get away from Feast Week quickly. Indiana got a 17-point win over Kansas State today. Thoughts on the Hoosiers?
Well, luckily we've got Kurt Signetti here with us.
We do. I was surprised at how easy they won that game, to be honest. I know it's in Bloomington, which certainly helps.
They were 10.5-point favorites. Relax.
Well, I mean, they got your boy PJ Haggerty over there at Kansas State. I thought he was like National Player of the Year, in your opinion. But
I mean, he's been balling out.
Here's the thing. It wasn't the Tucker DeVries show tonight. That's what, to me, makes me feel better about this Indiana team, was that Tatum Conaway played well, that Reed Bailey played well. It had been really DeVries and Lamar Wilkerson for the most part this year. And I think in order for them to be really good, those four guys have to consistently be good. And we just didn't know how it was going to translate for Conaway, especially for Reed Bailey, those guys coming from the mid-major level. But, listen, they've beaten two teams that we're not sure how good Marquette or Kansas State are, but they've beaten both fairly convincingly. That's the impressive thing. That's the thing that makes you feel like, and they make threes, man. They can score the ball. We know that.
Yeah, I think the 3-point shooting is going to bring in some volatility just naturally. They're up 20-4 in this game, and Kansas State was able to get back into it. They had two pretty strong bursts in this game, but this was a sum of the parts type of win for Indiana, and I think that's what it's going to be throughout the course of this season. Like, look, these Hoosiers compete, and for Hoosier fans, like that's all they've been asking for the last few years. And you just the flow they have offensively, the ball moves, it doesn't stick. It's not, square peg, round hole like we've seen over the past few years. And then I think defensively, they have good individual defenders, but I was really impressed tonight with their team defense. You don't keep a guy like Haggerty in check like that, where he's scoring 16 points on 17 shots and has 6 turnovers. You don't do that with just one guy. Like Conaway got a shot on him, Enright got a shot at him. They switched. They played drop coverage. Sisley leveled him off a few times and was great moving his feet. So again, I just go back to it, like the grit and tenacity that needed to be restored to this program. And the early returns on that is that you at least can go into every game and know that the Hoosiers are going to play hard. And that was something you just couldn't really say over the last few years.
Yeah. John?
I watched briefly the start of the game. I felt like the offensive flow was nice. And also they just jumped on Kansas State. And that's also a good sign too. Kansas State kind of had a little belief, it seems like, and then it was over. They didn't believe anymore, and that was it. It was an easy win for them. So I like their style of play. Want to see them play better competition. But so far, so good. As you guys stated, look, we just want a competent, fun to watch, hard-playing team, and I think they have that right now. Now it's got to translate into winning.
Dagan's got 2 more. So, by the way, is everybody okay? There was some racket over there.
Yeah, who was that?
It's me. It's past my bedtime, man. Things are starting to fall down off the wall here, man.
Hey, man, check your security cameras, all right? I'm a little worried somebody's in that house. All right, what else we got, Dagan?
Yeah, I got one more game I want to hit on outside of players, outside of Maui, all those. Ole Miss and Iowa had a game today, and Iowa is now 6-0 after a 5-point win. Bennett starts with 29 points. So thoughts on the Hawkeyes?
It's my guy, Bennett Sturts, man.
You've been down for a while.
Oh, I
Bennett.
love him.
You were like day
seriously,
one.
It's a love affair. Yeah, this might supersede even Rowan Brumbaugh. That's how much I like Bennett Sturts. I do. The dude plays the game the right way. He made immediately. Think of what he did last year for Drake. Think of what he did there. And then the coolest part of Bennett Sturts, right, is, number one, he might have been able to be a first-round pick last year. And instead of trying that, which a lot of guys would have done, he not only follows his coach to Iowa, but he does it without any fanfare. Like most guys are like, hey, I'm going to do a graphic and whatever, and I'm going to make this huge announcement. Bennett just basically said, hey, I'm following Coach Mack to Iowa, and he's made them relevant from day one. And this is a huge win for Iowa, because a lot of people are sleeping on them, LaTulip, aren't they, in terms of a real contender. But again, starts with some shooting around him. Man, that makes Ben McCollum's team pretty dangerous.
It does. And I tweeted or posted, I guess, not tweet anymore. But after their opener, I posted and said, I think that this Iowa team is going to be heard from in the Big Ten. I really do. And part of that is, it's truly Drake 2.0 in just a different vehicle. And I think they're as unified of a defensive unit that I saw in that first week of college basketball. And part of that is because they have a lot of guys that have obviously played together, but their ball pressure, they don't look like much because they're quote unquote undersized, but the ball pressure is suffocating. And for whatever top end issues you think they have, it's just mitigated by their ability to make you uncomfortable as a handler. I really enjoy watching them. I think they play with such intentionality. And I think McCollum, we look at coaches and view their ability in the sport with numerical stuff, hey, how many career wins does this guy have at the D1 level? Or I think Ben McCollum genuinely is one of the best coaches in the sport. I really do. How many times he's just done it level after level after level, sustained success. And if he takes Iowa in their first year to I'm even saying a double bye in the Big Ten tournament, top 4 seed, that is a major, major, major success. And I just think Bennett Sturts, you touched on it, Jeff. He is just how bright you have to be in this era to be you know what? I know where my bread's buttered. And it's with a guy that knows me in a system that I know, with guys that I know. There's no learning curve going somewhere else where I chase a bag. And I just felt like looking at the 4-game stretch they have in this November, December timeframe, it was Ole Miss, check. And then they got Michigan State, then they got Maryland, they got Iowa State before they hit the turn at Big Ten play. So how do they come out of that stretch was my question the first week of the season. And they're 1-0 so far with obviously another big test coming up.
By the way, John,
All right,
Iowa
let's go last question. No,
I was going to say,
let's go.
Iowa
Last
closes 4.5 point favorite. Okay, what's the last one here? Jeff's got a blackjack table to hit.
Yeah, I'm about to say
True.
Jeff's getting antsy here. Our guy Jay Cart dropped another super chat, so we're gonna let him ask this question.
Shout out to Jay, man.
He said, "Is the Big East a 3-big league this year?" We've answered this question a lot. He gave us UConn, St. John's, and Georgetown. That's his 3 teams.
Boy, I'm not ready on Georgetown.
Question.
Henson, are you ready to say that Georgetown is like a lock turn? Like, could the Big East be a 2-bid league? I think they get 3 because I think some team is going to win enough games in their league play to put some distance between the rest of the league.
I think Georgetown has a legitimate chance. They've got a stretch cut up here. They play Carolina. I don't know who they play before them, but I think Georgetown has a chance. I think Cooley's got them looking decent. I'm not ready to jump on the train yet, but so far so good. I think 3-bid is safe.
Yeah,
it's safe.
Yeah, I think they'll get 3.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to just we know that the non-conference sets up the strength of, or really just how these teams are viewed when it comes to the net and when it comes to the selection show, all that stuff. And I just look at, take Villanova, for example. Non-conference, they have Michigan and Wisconsin. Those are 2 really big opportunities. Michigan, obviously, more than Wisconsin. But you go on down the line, whether it's Villanova, Henson, you just touched on Georgetown. But I think we know what Creighton is. Butler's got a solid win against Virginia. They got really no one else in non-conference. So I don't know. I think it's trending towards
LaTulip. What about Dagan?
I'm personally, Dagan will love this. I'm haul in.
There it is. There's the quote. There it is. The quote of the night. Mike LaTulip is haul in. I like it.
I think. Yeah. Look, I think I love how hard they play. They make life difficult on you. They probably should have won that game tonight against USC, and then you're playing at that point you're playing for a Maui title. So which again contributes to what I'm talking about with this non-conference getting wins. That's all good for the league. Just not good that Creighton, Marquette, 2 teams that you've relied on over the years, seem to have taken a considerable step back.
All right, Dagan, is that it?
We got. By the way, we just got the notice in for the games tomorrow here in Vegas. Syracuse, Iowa State. Syracuse, Iowa State at 1. Notre Dame, Houston at 3:30. That's going to be a thrashing. St. John's, Auburn. St. John's, Auburn at 6. Could be interesting.
Thrashing.
Tennessee, Kansas in the 3rd place game. Kansas just playing with house money at this point.
Sure.
And then you got Michigan, Gonzaga in the title game at 9:30 and Maryland, Alabama at midnight. Man, I got to stay up for that. I don't know.
You don't have to. I'd love to update you on the Alabama UNLV score here, but TNT hasn't shown the score bug in about 10 minutes. So it looks like Alabama is blowing them out. But
you can just go to you can't get your scores anywhere else?
I can, but I'm laser focused on doing the show.
Alabama's up 6, 27-21.
Wow. Yeah. Look at Josh Pastner. Josh Pastner fighting.
That's right.
Big dog. Right. Big dog in this game. All right, let's do toast of the night. Jeff, you want to get us kicked off here? Lots of options tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Fighting Pat Scaries of Towson. I'm gonna go with they beat Liberty today down in Orlando, and we saw Liberty a couple times in person, and I think we still, Dagan, you can correct me, but I think in our latest mid-major they were number one, and Pat Scarry, Tyler Tejada, and Williamson came through, and that's a hell of a win for Towson.
All right, Towson. Shout out to Towson. Who's up next? Mike, you want to go?
I'll go next. First of all, Towson hit Liberty with a Liberty Bibberty in their social team. Hit him with that after the game, which was great. I'm gonna go Bishop Boswell. I thought he was a game changer tonight for Tennessee.
Fantastic.
So I'll keep it simple. Bishop Boswell.
John?
I'm gonna go with Rick Barnes getting over the Houston hump. It just seems like he has a hard time beating Houston, and he got over the hump today with a little bit of game planning, taking Gillespie off the ball, and so cheers. That's who I wanted to play for in college. I played for Coach Williams, obviously, but Rick Barnes was the guy that I really wanted to play for. So toast to him.
And then I'm gonna go Ace Glass, 40 points tonight, freshman for Washington State. Congratulations on your payday, young man. It's coming. It's coming. He got $1 million tonight. There is no doubt about that. All right, fellas. Happy Thanksgiving. Jeff, be safe out there. I hope that you don't lose it all, right?
I'm gonna clean up this mess that
What is he
happened
doing?
on
What
that
is he
fall.
pulling out? I don't like this visual.
What do you mean? What are you doing?
Pulling out chips. Don't worry about it.
That's right. That's right.
All right, we gotta go. There it is. There it is. Okay. It just kind of looked like you were, I don't.
All right. Hey,
Okay.
Johnny.
All right. Listen, for Jeff Goodman,
Good night,
from Mike
guys.
LaTulip, for John Henson, I'm John Martin. Thanks for being here. Field of 68, the Afters After Dark. We'll see you tomorrow night.